My balls keep telling me to let me just let me
We have part 2 of our series with Josh Poliaut. Fuck, I fucked it. I worked on it all day. Pull out. Just say it the French way. It's so much easier. It's just easier. I don't know what's harder, doing 6 years in prison or that your fucking name, you know?
A little bit of both.
Here's what happened to Josh back in 2012. He was a part of a RuneScape clan, and he was intoxicated, playing games, and he wrote in the chat a joke about the Columbine massacre in 1999, and somebody in that chat decided to challenge him on it, told him he shouldn't say it. He replied by saying that he was going to attack a school. His delivery, according to him, was so over the top that absolutely nobody could have taken it seriously. This person decided to report him to his local police department, not just the game. Within days, his house was raided by the local police department. When they arrested him, they found no guns, no bombs. That being said, he was still convicted of being a domestic terrorist, which he remains to this day a domestic terrorist for telling a joke. He has never committed a violent act that we know of. I'm sure you got in a fist fight in high school. Still, the district attorney went out of their way to convict Josh. He spent 5 years in prison and recently had to go back because of a probation violation. By the way, we did keep in contact with your girlfriend, who is now your wife. You want to talk a little bit about that? And boy, are you lucky to have her, because I'd have kicked you to the curb. But let's hear a little about your wife's story.
Girl that's now my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, was absolutely ride or die from the beginning. But I was making a lot of mistakes, and for a point in time, she actually did leave me when I first got to jail. But it wasn't necessarily because she didn't believe that she could ride out with me. Mm-hmm. It was more that just I wasn't making decisions that were consistent with the things that I was saying. My actions weren't living up to my words, you know. That was the best thing she could have done, honestly. Really? Because I sat in jail all that night just thinking about what I was doing with my life and where I wanted to go and whether or not I was actually walking the proper path to get there. And by the time I woke up the next day, I was like, yeah, screw this. I'm about to let this gorgeous ride or die girl that, you know, has bent over backwards for me, trying to help keep me out and got mad at me for drinking and smoking and all that. And I was about to let it all go because I wanted to get high, you know. Nah, I promise you, just give me my chance. That's all I need is my chance. Now we got a little baby girl on the way.
Wow, congratulations.
Nice.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
That may really help because when my daughter came, I wanted to get the hell out of the Army. You know, I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do was get out. So I think that probably served with some serious, because you're not screwing it up for just one person. You're screwing it up for two people. You know, so maybe and maybe that'll help. Was serving time any different this time around than it was like the second time around?
Yeah, they sent me to a low security. That was horrible. I went to a low security for the first time. My first years, I was at a medium high the entire time. I transferred from one to another for the last year of my sentence. I went before the same judge. And needless to say, he still hated my guts. He actually gave me a speech about basically what a piece of shit I was. And
did it help? No shit, Your Honor. Why was low security a problem? It seems like
it was absolute Wild West out there. I mean, like it was 150 dudes in one room. Just a massive room. It wasn't individual cells. It was cubicles. But you're a lot more face to face with the mental illness. You know, there's 4 o'clock in the morning, the schizophrenic guys walking around and people stealing stuff out of cubicles when people walk away. And also this is going to sound messed up that you would prefer this a little bit, but there's not really like respect or gangs and cars and stuff to like keep people in line. It's really mostly a bunch of like 20-year-old knuckleheads that think that they're hot shit. And not to mention the prison was completely corrupt. They were bringing in so many drugs that meth was actually a street price inside of the prison.
Oh my God.
The definition of being masculine and things that are effeminate are very, very different in prison.
Explain.
You know? If you're not hella aggressive, super egomaniacal and arrogant at all times, then they kind of take it as feminine. You ever seen Idiocracy, man? You remember how like just because he like enunciated his words, they said he sounded like a sissy? I mean, it's kind of like that. Like
it's kind of like that, yeah.
Straight guys don't use like polysyllabic words and read books, you know, like that. That's kind of man, what are you, gay or something, man? Hey, are you sitting around using words bigger than you know, pickle or something like that?
How did you get around it? Do you think your voice got you around it? Because I mean, I imagine you struck me as a reader. And
it's really more my attitude, man. I was just cool with everybody. I joked around a lot. I didn't get affiliated with any gangs, and it's just people pick up on vibes from it. It doesn't matter if you look a certain way or even if they want you or whatever. It's really more about how you carry yourself, you know?
One of the things, when you went back, we had a discussion that you were looking into options to possibly get yourself pardoned. Is that still an option?
The most I should probably go into detail about it is that it's public record that 2 of my ex-girlfriends testified against me at my sentencing hearing. And I publicly can very easily state the same thing that we all said in that courtroom, which is that they lied. While she was still on the stand, we proved that she was lying about 2 different things, and the judge still accepted her testimony.
You have a problem. I have to interrupt because that's what I do. You have a problem with me wishing rectal cancer on that judge? I'm very surprised in you. But go ahead.
No,
sir.
it's fine, man. It's fine.
Yeah. Just go ahead.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, you know what? He's entitled to rectal cancer. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Josh. Go right ahead.
For a time there, I had them both on my side, you know, willing to join the team and help me get this off my record because they wanted to go public with what had happened. But now I'm married, and I very highly doubt that's as much of a possibility. I don't really intend to talk to them again. However, I already have all the texts.
I see what you're saying.
I have all the texts and emails from both of them. Yeah. So that should suffice, in my opinion.
I got you.
Several of the people opposing me on the legal team committed felonies on my case. No doubt about it.
You
100% concrete evidence. They committed felonies. Malicious prosecution, prosecutorial misconduct, tampering with witnesses, everything. So
let me ask you something straight. Is it too much to ask? Is it possible for you to straighten out? And do you mean that? Like, I know you're going to say yes, but do you mean it? Do you feel that you can live an alcohol-free life, a drug-free life?
I think I can very confidently say yes, without being complacent, but rather confident. Yes. I have to tell you that the whole time, this mandatory 6 months I just did in the halfway house, I didn't do any drugs. I didn't drink. I was around it constantly, and I felt no temptation. It is so much easier and better and less stressful and enjoyable to me now to just do right and not have to be looking over my shoulder and not wondering if I'm going to get caught and not, worrying about my wife going through my phone or something stupid like that or failing a drug test. And last year I just kind of felt like I didn't have anything to lose, I guess, almost, Yeah. And I had a real serious degree of cynicism that was completely unhealthy after all the things that I'd gone through, I guess. And at this point, man, there's nothing in the world worth a drink to me, I mean, a drink would just destroy everything. My sobriety is my whole foundation right now. Whatever you put before your sobriety is the first thing that you'll lose, is what they say in AA. And that means I would lose my wife, my daughter, my video games, everything that I'm really thriving in right now and enjoying and loving life. Some absolute unit donated $2, or I guess that's £2. Said, Josh, how do you feel about Raid Shadow Legends? I would like to say that Raid Shadow Legends is an amazing new online MMORPG that you can play on your phone. My favorite part is all the different collectible champions that they have. But if you click on the link in the description right now, you'll get 100,000 silver coins, 2 energy potions, and a brand new champion called Lightstorm. Only right now for a limited time. That's how I feel about Raid Shadow Legends.
That's fantastic. I am not against pulling you back to do regular shit.
I'm not opposed to it at all. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Like, I might even put you in a like when we do. What we do is we take like a week's worth of drug.
We take like a week's worth of drug.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning. The schizophrenic guy's walking around.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
I get high and see the world that sees and trees and everything. All she wanna do is talk me smoking weed and wedding rings. Can't blame her though, I was way too cool for exes, yo. So she fell in love like an ex and O. I don't play no games, says tic-tac-toe. I had dreams of me popping crib. Big boss with a bad bitch. Bail money ain't about shit, and we been stopped running when we see